Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi, buddy. Russ from Hornchurch.
Hey!
Michael just asked the question just for the rest of the month. Hope you're safe and well on your YouTube channel. Please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you made available time you put new content on. As always, like to thank our lovely channel sponsors, Untuck It. We've got another music. We've had quite a few musicians and singers and stuff like that. So we've got another one today. I'm looking forward to chatting to Michael because I've listened to many of his stuff on Facebook and stuff and his streams and things like that. And I thought, yeah, let's get Michael on. Let's get him on. How you doing, Mike?
I'm very good. I'm glad to be on. I was just saying to you in our little backstage area, I'm a long time admirer of your channel and the work you do, and I was thrilled to get your message to come on. So very excited about it.
Yeah, I just thought, it's good because obviously, you've done. I just thought it was. I think it's really interesting actually because obviously I've been talking to a lot of musicians and singers recently, and obviously actors and performers, and obviously everything that's gone on in the world has been a really, really shit time. But I mean, like you, for example, you've done a lot of streaming, haven't you? Sort of doing your things on streaming and stuff, and had to diversify. And I think that's just really, really important. But how are you in general, Michael?
Generally, I'm all right. Like you say, we've all had to adapt in whatever we do. I imagine, I was thinking about this earlier. I imagine you starting this channel was your way of adapting from not having, the every week thing that you do and the work at the stadium as much. So same as you. I've not had my YouTube channel for long. I mean, for people that don't know me, I'm a singer. Predominantly, I sing soul, Motown, reggae, R&B, and I'm lucky enough to live here in the Canary Islands in Tenerife. So usually, I'm singing in soul and Motown venues and bars, and doing shows. March the 14th last year, Tenerife hit full lockdown, and I haven't worked properly since then. So, with a family, I have a family of 6. I have 4 children, myself and my wife. I had to do something, so I've tried sort of making CDs and stuff for my follow. I have a decent following, so my following can buy CDs. And then people are asking me, "We're missing the show. We're missing our holiday. Can you do some shows online?" Started doing shows on Facebook, like live streams, and then had problems with copyright strikes and stuff. So just followed your lead, created a YouTube channel, and I've just every Saturday night I'll do a live show, take people's requests. And recently, I've started trying to do some vlogs, in and around what's happening with Tenerife, the rules and regulations, what you need to come over. So, yeah, generally I'm quite good. Not a load of work around because there's barely any tourists still at the moment. There's hardly anybody here, but I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm still here, and the Hammers are doing well. So that's all good.
That's it. One thing you don't have to worry about is West Ham at the moment, which is nice. But isn't it Wednesday? Isn't it Wednesday? Is the Canaries part of the new?
No.
So it's Balearics. Sorry, it's Balearics.
Yeah. So the Balearics are Ibiza and countries like that. We're the Canaries. We were trying to lobby to have an independent decision away from mainland Spain because the figures in mainland Spain are not great. The Canaries are a little bit better. But I mean, we won't get into the politics because I don't want to do all that. But apparently the cases are rising here with no tourism and stuff. So it's kind of put the brakes on that for the
kibosh and that. Yeah.
Yes.
It's and I can imagine it's one of these things, particularly for yourself. I mean, there's probably people who go to Tenerife every year. And you know them by name, and it's Joan from Hornchurch, or it's Bob from Basildon.
I know Joan from Hornchurch.
Well, we all know Joe from Hornchurch. But you know what I mean? It's almost like it must be like real sad because obviously you probably get every summer you go and see them. They come over. Oh yeah, it's over like for a week. They're always in the bar and they're always chatting. It must be like a real. It's just a real sort of like. It's the same as West Ham, really. You got to think, to give it a West Ham perspective. People have been going to the season ticket holders for 50 years, and they haven't gone for 18 months.
It is a lot like West Ham in the sense that the same old faces. You recognise them, and people that maybe you've sat behind or whatever for years, like at West Ham, you sort of become a family. And the good thing about Tenerife is it's not seasonal because we have 12 months of sunshine a year. It's not just the summer people come for. So there's people, regulars, they come 5 times a year, some of them. So you get to know names and faces. I get to learn what songs they like, and I do their requests. Oh, this one's for Joan or whatever. She likes Marvin Gaye, and I sing that for her. So actually, I feel a lot like I've lost out on seeing a lot of friends because these people become friends, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I was talking to Mark, who does all the stuff at Potters, and it's the same thing for him. You know, he had to do the same thing because obviously it's not just the fact that they're not over there; it's that interaction you miss as well, that one-to-one interaction. So he had to go and do his stuff online to just try and get some sort of connection back with his friends, really, not a fan base, but more his friends. I mean, they become friends.
It's a really strange thing doing live shows on a mobile. So I'm on a mobile phone streaming it, singing. At the end of the song, you pause. There's no applause. You know, and the big thing about my job is you feed off the crowd. So it's not just singing. You'll have a little bit of banter, do a bit of comedy, read the room, talk to people, take requests. I feed off the vibe. A bit like your job as a DJ. Song selection's everything. So you can only choose really what songs are cohesive and working. Once you get people up dancing, of course, dancing's illegal now over here. So once you get people up dancing, you've got to try and pick the right song and keep them. Without that interaction in front of you live, it is just a case of going by your instincts because there's nobody to feed off of. You know, it's just a screen.
Well, it's there's a lot of parallels with football at the moment. It was until recently. In the same way they had no sort of feedback in terms of they had to go out and play without a crowd, and it's the same thing. They score a goal and it's like,
it still makes me laugh. Because they run to some of them still run to the crowd. They run to the corner. There's nobody there.
And then you've got to wait for the trace. Then you have to wait for VAR anyway now. So it's like you can't even celebrate. So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think. Well, we'll see what happens now, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I think something there. I mean, obviously, we've got another 3 weeks. 3 weeks, about 3 weeks left of apparent until everything goes back to normal, whatever that may be. We'll see that when happens. We'll see.
We'll stay away from that. Russ, you're probably best placed to answer about this whole. I'm not turning this round interviewing you, but you're best placed to answer on this whole topic about how West Ham have fared without a crowd.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes you're one of maybe 100 people in the whole stadium.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is different, but where do you stand on that with the players? Does it take the pressure off them?
I think it did at the beginning. I think if you think about it, I mean, if at the end, it's ridiculous to think of that now. But if you go back right to the beginning of the season, to be honest, 2 games left we stayed up with. It was spare, it was, and it wasn't. And over the summer, it was always, we need this player, and it didn't really buy anyone really. No. And obviously, just before we sold Grady, didn't we? And then
that was uproars.
There was uproar, and Mark came out and spoke, and and then obviously we had that Newcastle game where we were absolutely awful. So you're thinking with a crowd, that could have got on their back. It's a relative. I mean, to be honest, the guys they brought in, it's some great guys, but then there's not loads of experience, I'd say, in that team at that time. So it would have made a difference, I think. Definitely, they would get on their backs. And then obviously the Arsenal game away, same thing happened. We didn't pick up points, played better. But then, so I think at the beginning, it definitely helped us get into the season a little bit.
Maybe in that dogfight scenario, they don't have so much pressure carrying that on them. Because it's like if we start bad, a few stray passes, you know what I mean? Go a goal down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think the flip side is if we had the crowd, I think we'd be in the Champions League.
Yeah,
because there's certain games there. Arsenal at home, we never would have joined that game.
The Newcastle game.
I think we would have gone on. I think the Arsenal game we would have gone on to win 4-1, 5-1 convincingly. We were unbelievable that game.
Yeah.
And I think that on top of the great team spirit that David's brought along, because I mean as you said for you, I mean it's great to get you on because it's like parallels in some ways. If you're doing a live stream, you've got to be up for it. The crowd isn't going to be there. So you've got nothing to feed off. You've got to give that extra 10% for that fact. Now the fact is, there's no crowd. There'll be no crowd all season apart from 1 game or 2 games really at home. So they've had to be up for it from the start. There's no crowd to get that extra 10-15%. So they've had to have that team spirit. And
he's done a cracking job with that, hasn't he, Moisey? I mean, you're right. It does parallel. I've been lucky enough to perform over the world. I perform usually in the real world. I usually perform at Hyde Park for Winter Wonderland. And you might be singing to 10, 15,000 people. That gives you such a lift and such a buzz. Yeah. So to compare that to nobody, no response, no atmosphere, no vibe, no alcohol. You know what I mean? Sometimes you could, sometimes if you're out in a club or whatever, you might have a little drink and then go on and you sort of ride the wave of the vibe.
Yeah.
You have to do that in an empty stadium, football stadium, music venue. You have to be self-motivating, don't you?
Definitely.
I think Moyes has done a good job at lifting everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's lifted the whole club. Let's be honest. You know, now we go back in August, hopefully full capacity, or I don't know what they're doing, but it should be. We've got to think everyone's gagging to go back now. Before the end of before lockdown, that wasn't the case. Let's be honest, it wasn't the case. The team wasn't playing well. There was a lot of angst around everything. We've gone back, and everyone's now, got a team they're proud to see and want to see and want to cheer and want to go back. And so, of course, what's happening in the world is awful. But I think for West Ham, I think if anything, it's brought the fan base back together. I really do.
It's been very diverse for the last 10 or 11 years. If not longer, but certainly with the board we've got, there's been a divide. I definitely think the last season, a lot of people that wasn't enamoured with the stadium, and I'm not particularly a fan of the stadium because again, I'm of that generation. I'm a bowling boy, grew up with that. But certainly, I think absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yes, and definitely people that weren't enjoying the experience, the match day experience, are chomping at the bit to get back there now. I still hear from lots of people that they don't want to go when we're 50% capacity or under sort of very strict rules and restrictions. Some people just want to go back to the football they know. I'm not really sure if we're ever going to get to a point where it's back to football as it was. But if we could get back to just cheering our team on and all being together, if we could just come together as one, that this is the thing. I support West Ham. I don't know if we're going to get into this later on. I support West Ham because it's a family club. I'm from the area. And it's West Ham United. I don't mean to be corny. The thing for me that I love about the club more than anything else is the first day I walked into the bowling ground, I felt like something. I felt like I was accepted in the family. I was 5 years old. They lifted me up. I couldn't see. Fellas lifted me up on their shoulders so I could see. Everyone was cheering. Everyone singing the songs together. It was just incredible. And it's the unity of our, sorry, I'm getting on a rant now, but it's the unity of our club that I love. That's what I love. Yeah. And when we've gone through this division, it makes me very sad. I don't know if it's because social media wasn't around then. Twitter sometimes can be a very toxic place and everybody's at each other's throats. If we can get back to these days where we're a family club, we go not for winning trophies, not even for the football sometimes, just for the sense of community and belonging and all being Hammers, Irons, West Ham together. If we can get back to those days, no matter what's going on in the world, it will make my world feel a little bit better,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And to be honest, I think that's what people have missed. You can watch every game. I mean, probably watch it. You've probably watched every game over in Tenerife for a long time. Yeah. But in the UK, you've watched every Premier League game, and that's great. The fact is, a lot of people probably got a better view watching it on telly than they have. They don't have. There's no risks involved. I don't think it's about that. I think what it is about the sense of, win or lose, we're always on the booze. We're not a team. We're not a fan base who thinks we're going to be top four, whatever. That's not, as long as we are, for me, as long as we're, safe by like February, I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we know our place. We know our place. We do. But it's about the community. And you're totally right. I mean, I was fortunate enough on Saturday to go to a night with Macca, TC and Waldy. And it's the first one that I've been to since, for a long time, really, even before the pandemic. And it was just nice just seeing people. It was just nice seeing like hearing the same old stories we've heard for the last 25 years, but it doesn't matter. Everyone was like, it's such a nice atmosphere, and it's like getting that back. I mean, even we had 10,000 there at the last game of the season. They made a fucking racket. They really did, because from having no sound to having 10,000, it's just like, and you see in Hungary in the Euros, they've got full capacities. So
you're around your own. You're around your own at the end of the day. And that's, even now in Tenerife, there's lots of expats, English and various other nationals. Not many Londoners, and not that I have any problem with anyone. There's lots of Northerners, lots of Scots, and I have no problem with anybody. but it is nice sometimes when you get other Londoners come over and you're all talking about how you miss pie and mash, and you know what I mean. And it's just something about your own, something about being around that vibe, that family. That I just really miss. You know, I listen to all the many of the West Ham podcasts and your channel and Gio and Gonzo over there, and More Than Just a Podcast and the West Ham Way. Just hearing those London accents, because I don't hear them every day here. I'm either speaking Spanish or I'm talking to Northerners, and I just miss being around that London vibe. You know?
I get that. Yeah, I get that totally. I spoke. It's one of those, as you said, it's shared interest, isn't it? So it is about, and it's like, you know, if you spoke about a particular road, like that down Barking Road or whatever, you know, people will look at you unless they've been there, unless they were saying, "What the hell are you on about?" You know, we're talking about Nathan's on Barking Road. What? You know what I mean? So, and it is true, and I think and that's, since I've been doing this channel, I felt a lot more connected with the facts. I never really sort of associate myself much with the fan base, to be honest. So, but it really has. And the fact is, I've got a lot of people now that I call friends now who we've, and to be honest, I haven't met any of them really. I haven't met, Canning Town Len turned up for a cup of tea on Friday. That's the first time I met him ever. You know what I mean? Actually, it's the second time. So but you know what I mean? It's just lovely to have this sense of community. And you know, you've seen as well on Facebook and stuff, when people have been sort of had, you know, everyone's lost people or had really struggling times. The West Ham lot just all pulled together. And that's lovely to see. It's lovely. That's why we're a special club. We are a special club. That's
the London I remember growing up as well. You know, I was born in Forest Gate, lived in Custom House, Canning Town for most of my life until my sort of mid-teens. My mum and dad bought a business in Romford, so they still used to drive from East London, drop me off at school in Romford, and then go to work. And then eventually we moved to Hornchurch. That's why I was saying to you earlier on, I live down Rockingham Avenue off of Osborne Road.
That's where I live. I live in Osborne Road. I live Osborne Road.
Osborne. So yeah, Rockingham Avenue he was. Osborne. We used to go and play football. I scored some goals over Highlands Park.
Oh, but Mike, he's pissing it down today. You know, that's gonna be a swimming pool today.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it out of my window. It looks 28 degrees.
I can imagine.
But yeah, you know, I'm a Londoner. I just remember that's what I grew up with, that sense of community. Everybody pulls together, you help people out. If there's an old girl down your road, you go and check that she's got enough. And I don't know if it's the UK in general that's gone, because obviously I emigrated to Tenerife, but I don't know if that exists in the world anymore, does it?
I think to be honest, I think what's happened in the last 15 months is a lot more of it than I remember.
Yeah,
definitely a lot more than I remember. Because also I think, you know, it's one of those things where you've seen a lot more. I've seen even around Osborne Road, you've seen a lot of people checking it. We've got an old couple next door to us, so we always check on them, and vice versa. And you know, I think that people are being a lot more, particularly because obviously we had that big period where there was no bugger around, and then we were allowed sort of out a little bit, and you were like seeing other people, and you were having conversations, and like, but also you're thinking about stuff. You're trying to, you know, like my daughter and my wife have had 2 birthdays now in lockdown, so to speak. You try and do stuff. You think a bit more creatively. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you can't go and you know, book a restaurant. So you got to think, okay, well, I've got to do this. And you know, I remember my wife's first one. McDonald's weren't open. She was craving like a sausage egg McMuffin. So I learned how to do it on YouTube. But you know, I think you try a lot more. And so we'll see. I hope that. I think the world's going to come out a cleaner place. That's for sure. Yeah. I've never been so clean in my life.
Well, you're lucky. There's you eating sausage McMuffins. My wife has had me going out today buying paint. She wants us to decorate the whole house while everything's closed over here. So I've got a load of decorating to do and a list of jobs. So
yeah,
I'd rather have the muffins, if you don't mind.
I'd rather spend the time. Yeah, me too, Michael. Maybe actually a bit more painting would have probably helped out. To be honest, the lockdown body wasn't what I've hoped it to be. Let's be honest. No. But I did get my 2 jabs early, so there we go.
Right. There you go.
There we go. At Hornchurch Library. There we go.
Oh, is that where you went?
They converted it all out. They took out all the books and made it into like a 12-unit prodding place.
I'm sure I saw you put a picture up the other day of Langton's Park. Was you walking the
dog? Quite possibly. Yeah, because it's just around the corner. Yeah. We go to Langton's to walk the dog around there. But yeah, the Macca night was at the Conservative Club, which they've just redone.
Really? Wow.
They've redone during lockdown. They did a Michael and have repainted it all. Anyway. So obviously, you said from the age of 5, we've done the whole why from West Ham anyways. It's brilliant. Saved me asked the question. So and obviously once you're in, you're hooked, aren't you? Once you get that first game in, no turning back. No turning back, is there, man?
Like a lot of people say on here, I had no choice anyway. As soon as I was born, my granddad is a West Ham fan. He passed away sadly 3 years ago, but for a long period of his life, he didn't miss a game. Absolutely. Listen to this. On his wedding day, right? He went and got married. Him and his brother Jimmy went over, watched the game, and he met his wife, my nan, back at the reception afterwards. You've got to love that, ain't you? So from the minute I was born, I was already born into West Ham. East End family, we're all the same. My dad's not crazy about football, so he's more boxing. But my granddad used to take me over the park, and we used to play football whenever I played for teams. Soon as I could get in a baby grow, I was in a West Ham baby grow. So it's just always been ingrained in me. And like you say, from the first time, my earliest memory was going at 5, but I don't even remember who we saw. The next memory would have been going to the club shop, which you'll remember was just inside the gates, like a little wooden hut, like your science block at school. Porter cabin with all the shirts. I went to go and buy. He was going to buy me my first shirt. It was the Avco one. The Avco,
Nice.
And it was all folded up, the smell of it in those wooden shelves. And that was the first memory, really, of kind of do that. And I didn't know if you were going to ask me about my first game I remember.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry to interrupt the episode, but I'd just like to say that today's episode is actually sponsored by our friends at Manscaped. So thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring the episode. You'll see here, they've sent me some stuff to show you as well. So your balls will thank you. All fantastically designed and packaged. I love it. I love a bit of packaging. But the whole idea of Manscaped is to make sure that down there is all trimmed up as well as up here. That's all. Simple concept. But here's the main thing. It comes with, here's the main boy, the Lawnmower 3.0. There we go. With a little light I've just noticed as well, so you can do Morse code in between. So not SOS, but to make sure where you can see what you're doing, particularly if it's in the shower or whatnot as well. It's all skin safe technology. So the idea is, look at that. Oh, smoothing a baby's bottom. Back of my hand is. So it means you don't nick the old. Comes with a free guard as well. You can get interchangeable blades as well to make sure that it's all nice and hygienic, which is good. What else we got here? I haven't looked at this properly yet. We've got some ball toner, crop reviver, for an anytime pick me up. Spritz your goods once or twice, always twice, always twice, always double dip, and let air dry. So I'll make sure I lock the back door for that. Not the back door, the bathroom door. lock the bathroom door and let the old boys dry. More berries than twig. Oh, I suppose the twig has to dry as well, but it's mainly the berries. What else we got here? We've got ball deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant. Give that one a go as well. So looking forward to this. What else we got? It comes with free gifts as well. So we've got here a pair of boxer shorts, anti-chafing boxing shorts, and sweat wicking fibers, prevent anti-chafing and swamp crotch. We all don't like swamp crotch, do we? So that's good. It comes with a free bag as well to put it all in, all leather. Proper stuff that is, and it comes with these mats as well, which are basically newspaper type mats made of old school like newspaper paper. So the idea is you put this on the floor when you do the whole the old what's it called, shaving. That's the one, and then you can scrunch them up. Not the balls. I meant the newspaper. Put it in the bin. So that's all good. Anyway, if you want to get involved, description, all the information is in the description below, in the video description. Hit the link. Because you're part of the My Hammers 11 community, you get 20% off by putting the promo code in the description, plus free shipping. That ain't bad, is it? Anyway, get involved and back to the video. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Game I remember.
What's your first game you remember, Michael?
I'm glad you've asked, Ross. I'm glad you've asked. It would have been, I think it would have been around 89. What was it? The season we were in the second tier of football, so would have been the Division 2. Billy Bonds was manager, I think, and I'm sure it was Leicester, West Ham Leicester. We beat them 3-1 with goals from Leroy. I'm sure Keane got the rebound and the penalty, and Trevor Morley.
Oh,
And Stuart Slater just went on this run down the whole pitch from pretty much his own goal line and nearly scored. And I just, that's the first game I proper remember the result, remember the goal scorers, But we're going back to about 89-90 season, I think it must have been.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, when you sit there and you think about it and you sort of blink and, even 89-90, we're in 2021 now.
Mate.
And it's just like, what? What?
Mate,
you remember that, but you remember that game like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I remember, you remember the smell of it all. I remember walking back down towards the station where my granddad parked down a side road. Don't remember what it was exactly, but we walked back down and just walking with the crowd, the smell of the onions, the program sellers, everybody, because we'd won, everybody singing songs as we walked down Green Street. There was just something magical about it. And I remember I've said it before. I know it sounds so corny, so I apologize. I just remember feeling part of something special.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get it totally. But as you said, it's more the sort of the sensory side of it, isn't it? As you said, it's about this. It's like that smell of cooked onions.
Yeah.
It's like that just smell takes me back.
Yeah.
Just to West Ham. It's really funny.
You could be anywhere now. You could be anywhere now and smell that, and it takes you back to there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was in a market a couple of years ago. It was like a Decky market, which is in Tenerife, like not a Londoner in sight, but there was a hot dog, a burger stall, and I smelled the onions and was like, I felt like home. You know what I mean? It just
crazy, isn't it?
Just the whole thing takes you back, and it's to think now that I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I'm now 41 with 4 kids of my own who have unfortunately never been to a game. So yeah,
or fortunately, it
depends. Depends how you see it.
Depends how you look at it. But yeah. I know it's funny when you just look at it like you think like Jesus, how quickly life moves on, isn't it? It's just mental. It's just like but as you said, it's like things just take you back. It's like it's a smell, or it's a voice, and it's just the thing. That's the whole thing about West Ham. I think that's what things people have missed is all that just sensory stuff. Whether it's the popcorn smell now, or whatever, it's that cut grass. That's what it is for me. It's the cut grass. Particularly if I've got AstroTurf, I ain't got cut grass anymore now.
So there's more parallels there because I feel that music does that as well.
Yes.
Music has that sensory thing where a song could take you back, re-evoke emotions. And that's another part of our job. My job as a singer to hit the right notes. I don't mean vocally, but to hit the right emotive notes to make people feel a certain way. And you as a DJ would understand that as well. You play songs that evoke emotion, bring back memories. You can remember your first love, your first heartbreak, your first game, your first day at school. Music has the power to do that. And there's lots of parallels with football and with music because those are the memories that are really deeply ingrained.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. You're totally right. And I think it's one of those things as well. I mean, particularly with music, they say that music, you tend to enjoy or still enjoy the music that you enjoyed when you was a teenager because it was 15, 16. And I think it's the same with football as well. I think your formative years as a moving into adulthood, that sort of 15 to 17 age group. Those are the football players
you're bang right.
I get all gooey about. Right. You know what I mean?
You're about my age, Ross, right? Yeah. I'm 41. You're around my age, so I would imagine. Yeah. I imagine that your favourite era was the Redknapp era with the cameo. And, See, that's our sort of era. I mean, I've watched lots of these videos, and older people, it's very much like the Boys of '86 sort of era. Lots of Devonshire, and that Bonds, and that's their sort of informative years. Whereas ours are sort of Redknapp era. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I totally. And I think and that's why when we do the 11s, I try to say, okay, keep it to players you've been alive to see play, because otherwise, you and me, for example, we never really saw Trevor Brooking play. We never saw Billy Bonds play. People like that. So, it's not fair for us to put them in because we only know them by the stories that your granddad would have told you about how great. So that's why I think that's really, and that's why I like talking to people of various different, because I love talking to the more experienced fans, because you're right, they have a lot more suffering on their hands, but they saw Bobby Moore play, or they saw these guys play, and so I'm sort of like learning it's almost like sort of learning on the go. So it's really, really sweet. I love chatting to them. But you're right. Yeah, the Redknapp era was my most fun era. That was fun. It was fun. Football was fun then.
Yeah, to be fair, they've had more suffering, but they've also seen some success.
They've won something. Yeah.
I was born 2.5 weeks after.
Yeah. That's what I said.
1980 Cup
That's
final.
what I thought. Like, yeah, that's what I thought. You've got to be close. You have to be close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've actually seen something. Yeah. That's probably why we like the Redknapp era, because they won the Intertoto Cup.
Yeah, that's something. So as you know, I've watched quite a lot of your shows, and as I told you earlier on, as much as I love Parks, Dix, all these Di Canio, I've tried to do something a little bit different today with my 11. We have
those a bit different.
Yeah, I wanted to stay away, and as much as I love it, if I was to give you my all-time 11, it would be very similar to other people's. It would be, Dix, it would be Rio, it would be Ludo probably in goal, it would be Di Canio, it would be Trevor Sinclair. But I've tried to stay away from that, just to try and mix it up for some content for you, if that's all right.
No, I like it. So you got to introduce the concept we're going with today, Michael. Then.
Well, the concept I went with, I had a little think about. You said to me, could you maybe think about a musical theme, maybe people you'd like to duet with? But I've heard a lot of these lads sing drunken karaoke, and I don't know if I fancy that. And then I thought, I wonder if any of them have got any nice wives or girlfriends that would duet with me. But my wife saw me writing that one down. So I've gone for something a little bit different. I had this concept. I was going to go for one season wonders.
Nice.
So the criteria I've given myself, because I can, is anybody that played for less than 2 seasons. So it could be 1 and a bit seasons, or somebody who made an impact for their first season. So I've got a lot of people that are, under 30 games or under 2 seasons or a year and a half and things like that. So that's the criteria, really. They're 1 season wonders. Didn't stay any more. They didn't stay any more than a season and a half. So two seasons are my cut-off point. Like getting to 2 seasons, sort of 1.5 or under. So that's what I've gone for.
No, it's a good idea. I like it, Mark. It's a nice idea. Right, okay. So let's start between the sticks then. These 1 season wonders.
Well, between the sticks, I wanted a goalkeeper. I had a little bit. Now I must say early on, I've got to give some credit, because when I was going for this, I wrote about 4 players down and was stumped, and then I really couldn't think. So I spoke to a friend of ours, and I've got to shout out Nigel Khan. Because I thought, who is a bloody encyclopedia on football? So
Nigel Khan.
I shot him a text. I said, right, Nigel, this is my concept. He said, nice concept, that, mate. And then he fired about 30. Actually, to be fair, the more we spoke, we were going backwards and forward. What about him? What about him? He was 1 season, wasn't he? And good shout. And he was shouting. So he gave me some options, and we've made it up. So I've got to shout out Nigel Khan, and his first shout was Bernard Lama, between the sticks. Came with us, the French goalkeeper, came with us for a little while just before the World Cup. Didn't play many games, and I still think he made the French squad, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, yeah. I think he moved. He moved from PSG on loan. It was PSG, I think he came on loan to get into the French squad.
Yeah.
That was his idea.
He came and done the business. We didn't see much of him. I liked him. He was a solid keeper, laid back sort of character, if you know what I mean.
Yes. My thing about Bernard Lamar is I am adamant he never showered after a game. I'm adamant because literally because he stank. No, because literally I'd come out and I was sitting at the time. I'd have been sitting in the Centenary Upper. Centenary Upper would have been sat my granddad and my brother. And so by the time we'd come out and walking down Green Street to go, the bowling way, as if he's going down Barking Road, he was always in his car stuck in the middle of Green Street.
So he was out before you. He was out before you.
He was literally out. So literally, he's almost gone in, picked his boots, got in the car. But wait 10 minutes, Bernard. Have a cup of tea.
Maybe that's the crowd. Maybe that's because he didn't play much, did he? He didn't make many appearances.
Yeah.
But that was the only goalkeeper I could think of that fit my criteria.
I like him. Yeah, I like Bernard Lamar. He's good.
There we go.
Right, okay, Bernards are in. Who? Go for the team as you got them down, one at a time, man.
Right, okay, so we'll have right back. He's, I think he's probably a fan's favourite. Young player, a lot of potential. I believe he only played around 16 games, but he certainly made an impact.
Yeah,
he moved on to Chelsea when we got relegated, but I thought he was a cracking young player, and I've gone for Glenn Johnson.
Yeah,
right back.
Lovely, Glenn Johnson, and he was one of those criteria of players we had around that time, wasn't it? Where it was like, oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
when's he off?
Yeah, well, yeah. We have 1 or 2 now, and obviously Deck that we're all thinking that about. but we've hopefully got a little bit more out of Declan than we did Glenn Johnson. And it was always inevitable he was going to go. I'm not sure, and I don't know if I'm being unfair to the lad, I'm not sure he ever hit the heights that we expected he could. Is that fair to say?
I think, to be honest, I think that's fair for him. I think it's fair for him and Joe. I think, you know, I don't think they got even, you know, even someone like Rio to be perfectly, you know, if we're looking like, you know, from a complete, you know, up and below, the only one who had at that crop who really made hit was Frank
Lampard. Yeah.
Because when you know, he came. I mean, Johnson came in with this right back's going to be the best right back, and you know he's going to be brilliant. Joe Cole came in as one of the best. He's going to be one of the best players in the world. Rio's going to be one of the best defenders in the world. Not saying they didn't have a great career, but they never got into that echelon of player. And I think Glenn is epitomised that.
Yeah, I don't think they ever found Joe Cole's position, did they?
No.
I always preferred him in the middle. When he played for England, we had this troublesome left side in England. They threw him out on the left, and it didn't really work. And then again, when he went to Chelsea, I know we're talking about Johnson, but he also went to Chelsea, and I felt like he was stifled, like Joe Cole was stifled. Yeah. They sort of coached the creative, young fearlessness out of them, didn't they? They sort of kept them both very regimented. And I understand you've got to know your role, you've got to play tactics. But I felt like Glenn Johnson was another one, like Joe Cole. He almost got the brilliance and the raw, you know, youthful sort of the way you'd play in the park. I felt like that was coached out of them both. But Glenn Johnson's my right back for the one season wonders.
Yeah, we'll put Glenn in. Right, okay, go on. Let's go left back then.
Left back, see, first of all, I was thinking about Ilunga. I don't know if you remember Ilunga. He was
Ilunga, yes.
Yeah, he brilliant for the first season. I really liked him. And then the second season, he wasn't so good. And I wasn't sure on the cut-off point whether he played 2 full seasons. So I didn't go for Ilunga. Nigel said, I've got a better left back for you, David Unsworth. David Unsworth.
Yeah.
But I always remember him playing on centre back, but I believe that was the left of a back three.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was.
But he was a left back, so we've gone for David Unsworth at left back.
Yeah, and also with Unsworth, he had that famous thing where we sold him to Villa, and then his wife didn't want to go Villa, and then he came back and sold him to Everton. And Everton then sold him to.
I can't remember what way round, but she didn't want to know, and they just backed him straight to another club.
Brilliant. Right, okay, let's put Unsworth in. Good old Dave. Centre back. He's your first centre half.
First centre half is a player that we had on loan, and I thought he was wonderful, and I never really could work out why we didn't get him on a permanent, other than the price inflated because of his performances, and that was Tihinen. I really liked Anu Tihinen. So I thought he was superb. He just had class on the ball, just everything you want from a centre half, really. And I thought he was great.
Yeah, he was. You're right, and it was that game against Man United away. That was the game, wasn't it? And I think you're right. I think his team wanted like 7 million for him, and we didn't pay it. And it's like, and then I think we went and spent the money on. I can't remember who. Someone tell me, but it was ridiculous.
Probably like Rigobert. Probably Rigobert.
I think it was Rigobert Song and Titi Kamara. I think it was Rigobert Song and Titi Kamara.
That was out of the third of their money, wasn't it? Rigobert Song, Titi Kamara, and one more.
Yeah, but but there was something weird. But anyway, Tiernan, Finnish international, fantastic, really solid player. Right, okay, so he's in. Who's he going to partner them?
We're going for Big Slav next to him. Believe it or not.
Big Slav.
Lots of people don't realise that Bilic was only with us for 16 months, and he was another one, of course, who went and jumped ship and went to Everton because he wanted to win things. How'd that work out for you, Slav?
Yeah, worked out well, didn't it? Bless him. Bless him.
But I did admire him. I always liked him as a centre half. He was strong. He was well organised. He was good in the air. So I thought that would have been a really good long-term partnership at the back, wouldn't it? Tihan and Slav and Bilic.
So solid.
It's not a bad old defence. I don't.
No, and Slav was a great player. He was a great player. He really was. And I think he was one of these ones. I think someone asked in an interview when he came back as a manager, of course, about him leaving for Everton. And I think there was sort of a probably should have done that one. Sense
of regret. Yeah, there's a sense of regret there. And I think we would have loved him even more. I mean, there was always this divide when he was our manager. Lots of people loved him, and he's one of us. He's one of our own. But then there was another section of people saying, but he left. He jumped ship because he thought the grass was greener. So there was always this divide again. But let's remember him for his playing days, and let's remember how great he was for us.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Right, midfield. Who's your first one?
What side are we going for? Oh, so we've gone for a 4-4-3-3.
4-3-3, yeah.
Let's have a look at my little notes. So I've gone for a 3 across the middle. He was world class. He wasn't world class for us because he was kept out by Hayden Mullins and he just didn't settle very well. But if we're talking about people that made an impact over one season, you've got to go for Mascherano.
Yeah.
You have Mascherano
Exactly.
just holding there. He certainly made an impact. We'll certainly always remember the whole Tevez and Mascherano affair. And talking about people under that criteria that were just fly by night and temporary, I think we've got to have him in there. What do you think?
Yeah, considering what the career he went on to have as well.
Yeah.
But hey, Hayden Mullins was a better player.
That's what I'm saying. Hayden Mullins. I can't believe Barcelona never came in for him.
Exactly. Although, to be fair to Hayden, everyone who puts like Zamora, that they all put him in their team.
Yeah.
Because he did a lot of donkey work. And but obviously, old Chocolate Pards fancied him better than Javier.
He never fancied anyone more than he fancied himself, did he, Pards? Let's be honest.
Oh dear. Do you know what though? Fair play. Do you know, I always say this about Pards. He's the only manager I've had when I've worked at West Ham who's given a shit about what we do.
I liked him. I did.
Because he wanted to control the club. He wanted to make sure everything. Yeah. And so he'd ask me what music we were playing. He would literally say, "What music are you playing today, Russ?" We'd go into his crappy little manager's office in Upton Park. And I'd say, we'll probably do a bit of this, we can't play this because, we can't play Oasis because we're playing Man City. And he'd be like, okay, I've got an idea. Can you play some Frank? No. he loved Frank Sinatra.
A little bit of Sinatra,
Oh, so much so. And I'll tell you a story. So much so, one game, he'd gone to see the Rat Pack live at the Soho Theatre. And he went backstage and he basically hired the Dean Martin impersonator that evening to come and sing at West Ham. And he didn't even know the words to Bubbles. And he was doing the Dean Martin version, obviously.
Yeah.
And he can sing Bubbles.
Oh my goodness.
Love him.
Probably if that's not in the show, he don't know it. What a lot of people are. What a lot of people are like, yeah. I like Pards. Wasn't it Pards that gave Noble his debut as well?
I believe so. I believe it would have been. Yeah. Would have been so definitely.
Lots of good memories. They played good football and we nearly done it, didn't we? We nearly done it.
There's particularly when we went, because obviously he took over and we'd gone down, and we just obviously, and he did sort of do a little bit like Moyes. He sort of brought the team back together. We disbanded, we'd all gone down, and players had left, and obviously, Jermaine Defoe had signed, put in his transfer requests and all that type of thing. And he went and said, "No, I want players, my players." And so he went and got the boys from Wimbledon.
Rio Coca
and Nolan and McAnuff, and he'd gone and he got guys that he wanted. He got Hayden Mullins in. He got these players in. He brought up Anton and he Elliot Ward and these types of players who he sort of. That was a good time at West Ham. That was, and we got to the FA Cup final under Pards. So
exactly, we so nearly did it. And parallels again. You just said there that he wanted to control every element of the club. I think again. With Moyes, it's the first time really since Pardew that he's gone to the other two upstairs. Listen, let me control this. You sit back and be a chairman. I'll be the manager. Let me coach. Let me look at the scouting network. I mean, you'll know better than I with being there. But I kind of feel like he's trying to get a grip on a few of the things that maybe were wayward and not so organised. And Moyes is the first time since I guess Pardew that he's wanted to sort of make it his own identity and put a team in his own image with his own players.
Yeah.
So I like Pards and I like some of those boys from that era.
Yeah. All right, we'll put Mascherano in then. Who's next in that midfield?
Well, it's funny. I wrote this down, and the next day I saw on Twitter that it's actually, I think, 15 years since, unfortunately, his untimely death. It's a hell of a player, and I liked him. Marc-Vivien Foé.
Yeah.
So Foé was a cracking player for us. I feel like he could have gone on and got as he got a little bit older. He was very solid, good ball winner. Quite nice on the ball and very strong. I felt like he could have only got better and grown as he went through his career. Just a tragedy, really. I remember hearing the news that he just dropped down and had a cardiac arrest, and I believe he swallowed.
Particularly, obviously, with what happened with Ericsson recently.
This is even more pertinent with things. I was just my wife knows nothing about football. She just knows I'm West Ham mad, and she was asking me, "Oh, who's your team then?" And why? She actually asked me why are these people only around for a season or a season and a half? And so I was explaining everybody. I was explaining about Mascherano and the situation. And I came to Foe and she said that's so pertinent with what's just happened with, she said, the Danish bloke, but I knew what she meant.
That's what you mean,
yeah. It's so pertinent that it's actually a couple of days ago, the anniversary of that happening, and also with Ericsson. So without that influencing my decision, I'd gone for Foe, and then the stars seem to align. It's very topical at the moment.
And he was, and Farry was like the first, I'd say, sort of that sort of mold, the African sort of central defensive midfield, you know, he was just like a unit. And then obviously you then go on and then you go to sort of, sort of a Toure, and then obviously the French boys, you had Vieira come over, these tall, big athletics.
Kante and Makelele.
You never really had that sort of like, just like holding, domineering force, and that's like, he was one of the first ones. I'm pretty sure, particularly the modern era, and fantastic player. And everyone talks about the Trevor Sinclair pass to the Cadio. It was a Foe tackle that led to that goal.
And I'm not sure we really knew how to use him because, like you say, he was one of the first of that breed. It'd be interesting if he was around today in today's football, and the way you play that sort of enforcer, that sort of just in front of your back four defensive midfielder, just breaking up play, a lot like what they're trying to get Beck to do for England, just staying back and breaking up play and then just passing it off and getting things going. I feel like he could have been great. So I had a lot of time for him, admired what he did, and it's also a very tragic story. So shout out to Mark Vivian Foe, may he rest in peace.
Indeed, right. So we've got Mascherano, we've got Foe. Who's going to be that midfield third?
Right, this one's a bit controversial, right? Because it's more recent. What did you think of this before we divulge who it was? Could you see the point?
Yeah, I see the point. Yeah, because he's he's not our player at the moment.
You're correct. Right, so I went through a lot of old school players, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one I didn't put in. I had a bit of I don't know whether to say this until I get to the forwards. No, I won't talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get there. So I've rejuggled about, and at the last minute, I've added in the centre of my midfield, Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
Now, if we don't sign him on a permanent, this will be a one-season wonder. If we do sign him, I'll have to come back and do another 11 for you, or substitute a player in. There were other contenders I was going to put in there, but there was nobody I could really think of centrally, alongside Mascherano and Foe, that I wanted to play. Because I've gone for a 4-3-3, I had lots of wingers I would have liked to have put in, and we'll maybe do honourable mentions later on if we've got time. But I needed a free in the middle because I've gone for free up front, and I wasn't going to move on my front three because I think that's quite good. So I needed another midfielder that could play more centrally. So I've gone for Jesse Lingard because at the moment he's come in. What's he scored? 9 goals in 16 games or something. I definitely think if we're talking about, for my criteria, one season made an impact, I think your man Jay Lings has done that.
I think he has, man. I think he has, and you're right. That's the thing. Obviously, he's not our player at the moment, so who knows what happens. But what a season he had. That was one season wonder. What a season it was. Not even a season, to be honest, was it?
Well, this epitomises my concept. Came in for a little while, made an impact. Whether you made an impact with the sort of legal mess that was Mascherano and someone else coming up later, or whether it was just coming in and getting us going and showing some form. Just for a little while, we loved him. He came in, he done the business. But if we end up signing him on a permanent, which I hope we do, then this video is not going to age very well, is it? So forgive me.
Doesn't matter. Right, go on. Let's go up front. Who's your first of your three up front?
Right. So there was this guy. I wanted to put him in. I was tempted if I'd have played a 4 in midfield, I would have put him out wide on the left. But Nigel said I always remember him as more of a forward. So that was the whole dilemma with the midfield. So I couldn't put him in the midfield. I'm playing him up front as a free. I've got him on the left of a free. It's Craig Bellamy.
Oh,
our pacey, so fast, little bit fiery, and I do like a player with a little bit of fire in their belly.
Yes, I like a bastard player.
That's it. He wasn't with us for long, and I just remember some of those blistering runs down the left. Cutting inside or getting a cross in, and again, football was different. When you look back at these eras we grew up, football evolves so quickly. The systems they play in. Just remember him on the left. I could see him playing in a modern day system. Liverpool play with their three up front.
Yeah.
They've got Mane, and so I could see him playing in one of those systems. And I think he'd still be as good today.
Definitely. And I think the frustration thing with Craig Bellamy for me was they'd bought him, and obviously the whole idea was him and Ashton. You know, it was almost like a two and
man, big man.
Yeah, it would have been brilliant. It would have been brilliant. But yeah, and we love a bastard player, don't we?
We do.
When he's not playing for you, you boo him, but when he plays for you,
you love him. He's Arnautovic again. It's that same sort of personality as Arnie, isn't it? You know.
Totally.
So he's my left of a front three. On the right of a front, on the right, I think people have probably guessed. Talking about being there a short time, making an impact. Those last 10 games in that great escape season, I've gone for Carlos Tevez. You can't not have Tevez. I understand he made a bit more of an impact than Mascherano, but they came as a pair. I just remember before the days of ITKs and all this, and I never used to really get into club line where you could. I just remember turning the telly on and seeing them stood each side apart, holding the shirts up, thinking, "What on earth is going on?" And granted, look, we had all the fallout, we had all the thing with Sheffield United, we had all the legal problems with what was his name, Jory, Kia Jorkayev, what was his name?
Kia,
that one. We had all that, but come on, let's just on the pitch, let's just remember those times when he finally got going and got that goal and just ran up into the crowd and just 10 blistering games or so. And almost not single-handedly, but he certainly had a big part to play with keeping us up that year as Sheffield United protested in court. But, we loved him. We loved him for that season, and we just had a bit of class for once. West Ham's always been about grit and determination and working for each other. I loved players through the years like Steve Lomas, just because he would dig in and all that. To have a bit of Argentinian flair, bit of class. Yeah. He's my one season wonder. He's my man up front.
Yeah, you're totally right, man. You're totally right with him in terms of just a little bit of, and very rarely you get someone, because what I liked about Carlos was he was a trier and he'd keep going and obviously we love to be enamoured by West Ham fans, to be adored. All you got to do is have a go. That's all you got to do is just have a go. Yeah. If you had a go and you got a bit about you in terms of skill. That is and that's what Carlos had. That's what Di Canio had. That's what they had that sort of both sides of what we need. Right. So we got Craig. We've got Carlitos. Who's in the middle then?
Right. So it was a toss up. I'll tell you who I omitted first of all.
Jonathan Cleary.
No, it wasn't.
Simeone Zaza.
Zaza. Yeah. No, it was. You could do this all day. To be fair, couldn't you? Yeah.
David Di Michele, Ilian. Diego Tristan, Guillermo Franco, Mido, Savio.
Who was Benny McCarthy. We could do this all day. I've picked, but just because he wasn't necessarily, again, like Mascherano, he wasn't world class for us. But I just remember signing him after the World Cup, Davor Suker.
Big Dave.
I will always remember him running down the wing for Croatia and chipping Schmeichel against Denmark, and that goal. There's a theory that by the time he got to us, he had bad ankles and such. But just imagine that front three, just on paper. Tevez, Suker and Bellamy. I just think there would have been something else. I feel a little bit bad because over the years, we have had some good strikers that were one-season wonders. I can explain now, this Lingard thing. I was desperate to put Bellamy on the left of an attacking midfield and let him sort of float. But he's not really a midfielder, and I would have put Paulo Futre up there.
Yeah,
just talking about class. I mean, again, there's a lot of players in this team that were. There's 2 or 3 that were world class, just not for us. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good expression. Yeah, world class, but not for us. Yeah.
Yeah, the players like that. Hugo Porfirio is another one. Florian Radicchio is another one. Lots of players that I considered putting in just because they had a little bit of something about them. But I've tried to make them work in this system, and using a little bit of science, I felt like that was probably the best front three we could get. We've got a bit of pace there. We've got our trier, and we've got someone who can finish clinically. So that's my West Ham 11.
We've Big Dave up front, honestly. Big Dave.
Big Dave.
That's what they used to call him, Big Dave. That's really what Monks used to call him, Big Dave.
Dave Sucker.
He was like, because and what Big Dave was, and that's why Harry liked him, or didn't necessarily like him after at the end. Big Dave is a big stocks and shares man. Big stocks and shares man. So sometimes he had a bit of a tip for him, and he had a tip for, like, I remember that Monks told a story. He had a tip for Monks, and obviously H got word of it. You know, like literally. Sorry, what was that? And he's like, yeah, it's gonna reports coming out. You're gonna make it on this. You're gonna make on this stock. So obviously they all put all their money on it. Stock comes out. The report, no, it's totally opposite. So they all lose their money. Next day on training, Monks is on the other side, five-a-side, goes in two-footed on Big Dave. Big Dave gets up, turns to Harry and says, "What's going on?" Harry went,
"Yeah, exactly."
On,
mate, dear. I'm sure. I can't remember who it was. I'm sure I heard a story on your channel about him getting a tip and right before kickoff sending one of the subs out to go and put money on an horse.
I think that was, I think there was, and then Big Dave also organised because we was in the Intertoto Cup. No, he was in the UEFA Cup then, and him and Igor Stimac, they were in Croatia. We were playing a team in Croatia, and they organised the team bonding, and it was like they thought it was going to be clay pigeon shooting. That's what Sinks tells the story. He thought they organised clay pigeon shooting. They hadn't. They'd organised, basically, they were in like some forest, and like a black like van turned up, like an A-team van, and like it had all Uzis in it. So that this is the morning before the game. They're shooting Uzis in the forest. Monks thinks it's hilarious to strip off naked and pretend he's a bunny. And obviously during that was obviously the war had just finished, really.
Yeah.
There was that hadn't been cleared for landmines. And, and so they were like, "John, you're going to have to go back there," explaining it to John. John's like, the colour goes in his face. Honestly, that was when football was fun, man.
Not the first story I've heard about Monker stripping off naked, is it?
Yeah, he does like to get naked quite a bit.
He's a character.
Listen, yeah, I love it. I love John. Right, so that's the team. As I said, I like that. That's a good team, as you said. That's a effing good team.
That's not too bad, that is it? Considering their criteria, you know, one season, make an impact, stay for sort of a season and a half or less. Few of them there were like 16 games. Not many games for Mascherano. You know, not many games for Lingard. But that was the criteria. Get them in there early. Not many games for Lamar either.
I mean, there's a lot of like international caps there, and you know you've got a couple of Premier League winners, Champions League winners. You know, it's very good, very good. Michael, man, it's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure, my friend.
The pleasure's been all mine. Thank you so much. And as I said, I wanted to do something different. So
yeah, it's good, man. I like it. And where can everyone find you, Michael?
So thank you so much. They can find me on my YouTube channel, which is simply Michael Leavy Jr. I've actually just started it. It's been active, but it's been laying dormant for a couple of years. I'm desperate to try and get my watch hours up. I've nearly 2,000 subscribers. But you'll know, I can't get any ads or anything or any little income for the family until I get to 4,000 watch hours. I'm on 2,000. So if any of our fellow hammers...
2001 now.
Good man. If any of our fellow hammers can go over and have a little video, you might find a reggae or an R&B or a soul video. Go and have a little watch. Get me watch hours up and do like we always do for each other. It's Hammers family.
Help each other's out. Exactly.
Yes, mate. Thank you so much.
And for myself and for Michael, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, you irons. And we'll see you again very soon. Come on, you irons. We'll see you again very